Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We are live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a 1 in the live chat, and then we're going to get today's show started. As I'm waiting for the ones to come into the live chat, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, you're always watching my videos but refusing to subscribe. I don't know why you're doing that. Please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, and it appears that you can all hear me and see me clearly, let's get today's show started. Let's get it started because the war on Trump continues, right? The war on Trump continues. The latest governor to stand up in defiance to Donald Trump, despite the fact that he's not even in office yet, but the latest governor to stand up in defiance to Trump and essentially ready to wage war on him and to, fight back against Trump is Gavin Newsom out of California. Right, Governor Gavin Newsom out of California. Now, yesterday, we covered what was going on in New York concerning Governor Kathy Hochul and AG Attorney General Letitia James, who took a defiant stance against Trump as well, despite the fact that he's not in office yet. I have to keep reiterating that. And before we go to Gavin, I want to take a moment to play this quick clip from Kathy Hochul about a month ago. I want to say it was about a month ago. When she was on, I believe it's MSNBC, and they were asking her what she felt about Eric Adams refusing to co-sign the talking point that Donald Trump is the man with the small mustache. And I just want you to hear what Kathy Hochul had to say, because once you're hearing this from about a month ago, her response, then it becomes very obvious that she took the defiant stance that she has against Trump, once again, despite the fact that he is not in office. So let's jump into this clip right here.
Donald Trump is a fascist. I want you to listen.
Let me rewind it back just a little bit.
Was asked if he believes that Donald Trump is a fascist. I want you to listen to his response.
Mr. Mayor, I wondered if I could ask you about any communications you've been having with the Trump campaign about this rally or otherwise, and if you believe, as others have said, that the former president is a fascist.
You know, I have been had those terms hurled at me by some political leaders in the city, using terms like Hitler and fascist. My answer is no. I know what Hitler has done, and I know what a fascist regime looks like.
30 seconds left. Do you agree?
I agree that we should listen to people like John Kelly, who know him better than anybody. John Kelly, who was his chief of staff, a revered general with such respect, he called him a fascist. I think those are the people we need to listen to, as well as his own hand-picked vice presidential candidate, who said he is America's Hitler. Those are the chilling words that I think we ought to be paying attention to this election.
Kathy is such a DNC clown, but then once again, now after watching this, it is no surprise that she took the defiant stance that she did against Trump. I believe it was yesterday when we covered it with her and Attorney General Letitia James. And now we have this. We have this right here. And let me remove myself off the screen for a moment so you can see this a little bit bigger. But as you can see, Gavin Newsom posted this. California is ready to fight. Not California is ready to work with Trump to, make America great again, right? But California is ready to fight, not to collaborate and work together to make things better for all Americans, but is ready to fight. And the tweet continued to read, I just called an emergency special session to help bolster our legal resources and protect our state against any unlawful actions by the incoming Trump administration, whether it be our fundamental civil rights, reproductive freedom, or climate action. We refuse to turn back the clock and allow our values and laws to be attacked. Now, what I want to do is shift over to this clip here, just for a little bit more detail into what exactly Newsom is talking about, right? Concerning, they're ready to protect their civil rights, their reproductive freedoms, and all this other nonsense that isn't going to happen, nor will be taken away from you. Nobody's civil rights is going to be taken away from them. He's talking complete foolishness. And what we really have to understand is this. Even though they may not be saying these things, they may not be saying it bluntly, right? And clearly, what they are taking a defiant stance against, essentially, and who they are trying to protect is their illegal immigrant population. They want to hold on to that desperately. We understand what having a large illegal immigrant population means to them as it pertains to attaining more seats in the House of Representatives, because illegal immigrants are counted on the census as well, and they are counted on the census as being a legitimate part of your population in your respective state, despite the fact that they're not citizens, right? And the number of seats that a given state has in the House of Representatives is based upon the population size. So where we see in states like California and Illinois and New York, where the population size in those states have steadily been shrinking year after year after year after year, to which they would lose more seats within the House, they need that illegal immigrant population to kind of counterbalance the citizen population that is actually fleeing these liberal states, right? So that's what's happening, and that's why they want to hold on to these illegal immigrants so much. That's also, too, on top of the fact that they're very hopeful that maybe in 2028 they'll be able to get a DNC Democrat president in office with a trifecta holding the House and the Senate, to which they can put in place a mass amnesty bill that would effectively make all 32 million, my calculation is at this point, 32 million illegal immigrants that are in the country, that would make them all legal, right? And make them all citizens, to which obviously the expectation is that they're going to vote Democrat. But now let's get into this clip here once again. Let's jump into this right here, just concerning and getting into a little bit more detail, right? A little bit more detail into what Gavin is talking about as he's ready to fight, right? Ready to fight Donald Trump. Let's jump into this right here.
Governor Newsom and the state attorney general are preparing for a fight. Tonight, Newsom announced a special session when the state legislature convenes in its next session on December 2nd. And ABC 10's Becca Hotbecker joins us live in studio with more on the governor's plans.
Alex, in this proclamation issued today, Governor Newsom says the extraordinary session will be essentially focused on enabling California to challenge and defend itself from actions taken by the Trump administration. Now, today we heard from the state attorney general and those who call this special session political theater.
Governor Gavin Newsom says he is shoring up California's defenses against an incoming federal administration that has threatened the state on multiple fronts.
I know there is a lot of fear and anxiety.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta, speaking at a news conference Thursday in front of San Francisco's iconic Golden Gate Bridge, said progress will prevail and California is ready for the fight.
Whatever the financial situation, when we have full frontal assaults on who we are, what we stand for, our people, our resources, we will fight back. We will punch back. We will push back. Period. Full stop. End of story.
It's why Newsom.
Look at the language that they're using. I think that's really important, and to me that matters. That they're always using the language of violence when they talk about Donald Trump, right? They're always using the language of violence. Let me rewind that back just a little bit more so we can hear that again.
And California is ready for the fight.
Whatever the financial situation, when we have full frontal assaults on who we are, what we stand for, our people, our resources, we will fight back. We will punch back. We will push back. Period, full stop, end of story.
It's why Newsom is calling a special session on December 2nd to safeguard California values and fundamental rights in the face of an incoming Trump administration. The special session will focus on bolstering California legal resources to protect civil rights, reproductive freedom, climate action, and immigrant families.
You can be sure that as California Attorney General, if Trump attacks your rights, I'll be there.
I keep trying to tell you guys, they're really just talking about illegal immigrants. I'm going to let the rest of this play so that you can hear what the, some of the Republicans in California have to say. But this is really about protecting illegal immigrants. That's what this is all really about. It's not about protecting the rights of the citizens of California or of New York or Massachusetts. It's not about any of that. It's about protecting their coveted illegal immigrant population that they're looking and hoping to make citizens in the future.
California legal resources to protect civil rights, reproductive freedom, climate action, and immigrant families.
You can be sure that as California Attorney General, if Trump attacks your rights, I'll be there.
This is really a smoke and mirrors headline.
State Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones says Newsom should be focusing on the real and pressing issues facing California rather than fighting Washington.
We have a homeless and fentanyl crisis that Prop 36 is trying to fix, and we're going to work with the governor as much as he'll work with us to make sure that Prop 36 is implemented and done according to the will of the voters, like he promised a couple weeks ago.
Republican Assemblymember Joe Patterson agrees.
Believe it or not, the governor could actually give an olive branch to Donald Trump and see how they could actually work together to improve the lives of Californians. Instead, he's choosing not to. And just 48 hours after Trump was elected, he's already announcing publicly to the nation he'd rather go to war than build a bridge.
And that's pretty much what every governor is doing so far. I don't think J.B. Pritzker out of Illinois has said anything just yet. I'm pretty sure he will take some sort of defiant stance very soon. So far, once again, we've heard from now Gavin Newsom, who is ready for war and ready to fight. As he stated in his own words on X, he's ready to fight. Gavin Newsom is ready for war. Governor Kathy Hochul in New York is ready for war. Her Attorney General, Letitia James, is ready for war. I always forget how to say the governor out of Massachusetts. Her name is, I believe, is Mura Healy. I believe her name is. She came out recently stating how she will not comply with any of Donald Trump's deportation demands, right? The local law enforcement will not work with ICE to deport the illegal immigrant population. She came out and firmly stood on that. So she has also come out against them waging war. There is no desire or want to actually repair things, right? They love to talk about a divided nation, but there's no actually want or desire to actually unify, right? They're not looking to do that. It's very clear that they're looking to frustrate any and everything that Trump is going to do at any and all costs, right? They're looking to take any measures that they can to frustrate the process of what it is that he is trying to do. I want to jump into this clip right here because I thought I had it loaded up. Let me load it up very quickly. As it pertains to frustrating the process of the changes that Trump wants to make, Democrats are really holding out a lot of hope. And it's really it would be a miracle at this point that they would be able to hold the House. But that's what they're looking at doing. That's their last shot and their best bet of frustrating everything that Trump is actually trying to accomplish. Is if they can hold on to the House. I want to get into this CNN clip right here where they discuss this as it pertains to the chances of the Democrats actually gaining control of the House, or at least Democrats just not having a solid majority, right? To which they can frustrate the process. Let's jump into this clip right now.
News, Democrat Laura Gillen scoring a key House win over first-term Republican Anthony D'Esposito in New York. Now that was flipping a highly sought-after seat tonight. That could be a crucial win there. The balance of power in the House up for grabs at this hour. Still, we cannot call the House. Democrats right now with 196 seats, Republicans with 210. Takes 218 to have that majority, which means Democrats still need 22 seats in order to do that, in order to prevent a clean sweep for Republicans. To pull that off, though, Democrats would need to hold 16 of the current seats out, which we have not yet called, and to flip 6 additional ones. So let's go straight to Harry Enton at the Magic Wall. Harry, look, you've got the White House and you've got the Senate. If you're Republicans, everything now for the Democrats and their hopes come down to the House. Where's the math stand?
Yeah, where does the math stand? Do they have much of a shot? Look, I think it's a little bit of a long shot at this point, but it's possible. It's possible. So, you mentioned right now
We don't even need to listen to the rest of what he has to say. I just needed him to confirm that what we all know is true. It's a little bit of a long shot. But technically it's possible. And that's what they're holding out on. They're holding out on a whole lot of luck, a whole lot of wishing, and they're holding out on a miracle. Because as it stands right now, as you saw here, when we go back to this portion of the clip, Republicans only need 218 seats to have complete control of the House. But it's looking like, if things pan out in the direction that they are concerning the leads that they have, it's looking like the Republicans might actually grab 222 seats, which is well over the 218 mark that they actually need. Now, I want to stick with CNN, right? Because I want to get into what my man Scott Jennings had to say. He said something that was very interesting, really good, concerning the bitterness of the Democrats and their attempt to frustrate any and everything that Trump is doing, and how they're preemptively attempting to frustrate him, but how ultimately all of these efforts will fly back into the face of the Democrats. It'll fly back into the face of the Democrats, because ultimately, if you're starting out on such a sour foot, like how all of these Democrats are, all these governors are in these liberal states, if you're starting off on this sour of a foot, and God forbid they were able to put a monkey wrench in the Republicans' ability to have a clear majority in the House, well, then putting up roadblocks every step of the way in front of Trump and making him essentially have a failed presidency, you could say, because you blocked him every step of the way, you're not doing yourselves any favor. When you look at the fact that Kamala losing to Trump was in a landslide, she lost in a landslide. It was a bloodbath. Not just winning the Electoral College, but the popular vote as well, overwhelmingly. That already goes to show that nobody trusts you and nobody believes you when you all speak. And now the country is watching. Everybody's watching the DNC's moves. Everybody's watching how bitter they are. Everybody's watching how negative and sad that they are, right? And if you're going to stand in his way every step of the way and essentially make his presidency a failed one, well, when JD Vance runs for office in 2028, it's going to be a landslide victory for JD Vance, because the problem is now the trust is broken, right? The trust is broken, because when you're looking at that landslide victory that happened, that didn't happen simply because an overwhelming amount of Republicans came out. That's not why that happened. Obviously, an overwhelming amount of Republicans and independents that lean conservative, yes, they all came out. Undecideds that were leaning conservative, they all came out. But what they're not going to tell you is how many registered Democrats actually voted for Trump. That's what they're not going to tell you. And that signals to you that we don't believe you. The people don't believe you. And we're watching you. We see how dirty you are. We see how you like to engage in shenanigans, as I like to say. The real word begins with a C, but you guys like to engage in shenanigans, right? To create certain outcomes, to have certain outcomes go in your favor, like in 2020. We're watching now. And essentially, if you're going to be a poor sport about it, moving forward in the future, you're going to continue to lose. you're going to continue to lose. So let's get into this clip right now from Scott Jennings. Then we're going to continue on.
My mind for several months, or something that's been on my mind for several months. There was an article in the New York Times in June that said resistance to new Trump administration already forming. And it was this long article about all these groups that were already out there. At that time, they thought he was going to beat Biden, but already planning to try to tie up the administration in court. You've had Jamie Raskin out there already saying, you know, we got to try to tie him up, maybe even before he's sworn in. Today, Sheldon Whitehouse and the Senate put out a press release saying we're going to focus not on progress, but on containing Donald Trump. My political advice to all these people is, please pick up the election results today and see what happened. The American people want this president and his administration and his party to make progress on the things they promised to do. This is exactly what happened last time. They were plotting to impeach him before he ever took office back in 2016. Let us not have a replay of this. Can we just have a couple of years of peace for the Republicans and President Trump to do what they promised to do, because the American people clearly are asking for it. There's a difference in responding to your constituents and working overtime to try to prevent the duly elected government from doing anything. This thing back in
Obama nominate a Supreme Court justice. Like, it is so duplicitous, I feel like. I respect you, Scott, and you're my friend, but like, please do not sit here and say that Republicans, when Democrats are elected, just roll over and let you all are struggling.
My advice is, if you all go down this road and try to stop this government, which just won a mandate, from doing anything, you will again pay the price in election after election. The American people are asking for progress. Do not tie this man up. Give this person a chance to lead.
And he's 100% right. And she's extremely disingenuous, because what we're witnessing right now, it's not the usual kind of political games that both sides play, where, you know, the Republicans try to filibuster the Democrats always try to filibuster the Republicans. Everybody has their egos inflated. Neither side wants to give in to one another. That's not what's happening right now. You're watching governors across the country form together as if they are preparing to fight against a foreign threat when they speak on Trump. I didn't see that happening when Joe Biden won presidency in 2020. I didn't see that at all, you know, and that's given the fact that so many people felt the way that they felt about the 2020 election, you know, concerning shenanigans, you know, or as I was saying earlier this year, that 2020 magic. Despite people's questions about the election, I didn't see, you know, governors across the country in Republican states, you know, putting out, you know, initiatives and holding emergency meetings, you know, in order to have all these preemptive moves against Joe Biden. That didn't happen. But we are seeing it the other way around, right? We are seeing it with these Democrats. And as Scott was saying, he was saying the Dems need to pick up the election results and essentially read the room. Read the room. And that's something that Gavin Newsom isn't doing. Let me show you this graphic right here as we're kind of winding things down, right? No one is reading the room. In a nutshell, the country went red. And though California is still blue, technically, California is going red, slowly but surely. I'm going to remove myself from here for a moment so that you can see this a little bit better. And you know what? Let me take this off the screen for right now. Let's take a look at this right here, right? Look at this map here. When you look at this map, on one side, the side that has a bunch of blue on it, that was 2020, right? That was coming off the 2020 election. A lot of blue coming off of the 2020 election. But after 2024, right? The election that just occurred, what is it, 2-3 days ago, California, the red has grown exponentially. And what I find also very interesting as well, as we zoom in over here even more, it's not just the fact that California is becoming more and more red. It's not just that. But if you notice the shades of blue, they go from dark blue to like a medium blue to light blue and then to red, right? This right here, where you see my little cursor, hopefully you can see it, and where there's like kind of like a hook right here, that right there is LA County, Los Angeles County, which is where I live. That's my county, right? You all know I live here in LA. You see how it was dark blue, as to be expected, right? But even in this year's election, it shifted to the medium blue, not light blue, but medium blue. But to me and to everybody else, I think that should speak volumes about how people are actually feeling. And it really shows how tone deaf the Democrats are, especially Gavin Newsom, when you want to continue on with this foolishness of fighting Donald Trump versus working with Donald Trump. To some people, this might not seem like the biggest deal in the world, but to me, it is. Because once again, when you're looking at this graphic right here, and you're seeing California in 2020, and now you're seeing it in 2024, and you're looking how so many of the counties that were the shade of light blue, if not medium blue, flipped red. And then once again, when you come back to this portion right here, that's dark blue with a little hook on it, that's LA County, Los Angeles. That even dropped down a shade. It speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to me. And once again, the reality is that no one's reading the room on the side of the Democrats. No one's reading the room. Instead, they're electing to stay defiant and to stay in opposition of Donald Trump, as opposed to working with him, once again, to better the lives of American citizens. They're actually more concerned with protecting and bettering the lives of illegal immigrants. That's what their concern is, and that's who and what they're actually trying to protect. But in a kind of twist of things, right? An odd twist, a twist that maybe many did not see coming, but maybe some did. It looks like, and I'm going to talk about this in my next video, not live stream, but a video that I'm going to work on once I'm done with this stream. It's looking like, of all the people in the world, that Trump and Vance may have possibly found an ally in our man, Eric Adams. He may have found an ally in Eric Adams, it's looking like. Some people I saw online were saying that Eric Adams is they were making a joke like pardon farming, because Biden's DOJ put charges on Eric Adams. They put the feds on him, and he's facing federal charges. I'm pretty sure that once Trump gets in the office, those charges are going to be dropped. I don't think that the charges that are on Eric Adams are going to move swiftly enough to where he'll be found guilty and then sentenced and then put in jail, right? If you've been paying attention as of late, Trump has been very friendly with Adams. He's spoken a lot of kind words about Adams recently, right? Spoken a lot of kind words about Adams. And we all know Donald Trump is not someone to speak pleasantries upon you if he doesn't actually like you, right? And Donald Trump has done that on a handful of occasions over the last, I want to say, month, right? And with that, we're now seeing Eric Adams actually congratulate Donald Trump and Vance, and articulating that he's willing to work with them, right? Where all these other DNC governors aren't willing to do that, Eric Adams seemingly is. So let's get into this clip in closing. I want to play this for you all right now.
I want to congratulate President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, and wish them all the best as they work to promote the interests of the American people. As mayor of America's largest city, our main team will work with the incoming administration for the good of all New Yorkers. We will collaborate with our mayors across this country to come up with a real agenda that could help cities across America.
I think that Eric Adams may be the only mayor across America, as far as having some sort of coalition. He's the only one, the DNC mayor at least, that's willing to openly work with Donald Trump. But as you all remember, and I talked about numerous times on this channel at the top of the year, it was very clear that when Eric Adams had the audacity to tell the truth about the migrant crisis, even calling Kamala Harris out by name, it was very clear and obvious that all of the raids that were happening to those that were associated, the FBI raids that were happening to those who were associated with Eric Adams, it was very clear that this stuff was retaliation. And it was only a matter of time until they actually dropped charges on Eric Adams. And once again, it was very clear that that was retaliation. At that moment in time when all this was happening, I was thinking to myself, yeah, Eric Adams is pretty much done. This guy's going to be a one-term mayor in New York. It's over with. But with Trump now in office, I think that Eric Adams is looking at a second chance. I think he's looking at a second chance. And I think that people are going to reevaluate his migrant crisis stance. In the midst of the migrant crisis, I know a lot of people are going to hold over his head that when he first got into office, you know, I think he said he was beating his chest, being very proud of New York City being a sanctuary city. And then essentially when Biden and Harris threw him under the bus and said, oh, we're glad to see that you're proud, take all these people in. Then he was like, hey, man, you guys got to help me out. You're not doing your job, yada, yada, yada. And when he called them out, you know, the DOJ didn't drop the hammer on him. I think that all of the rhetoric that came from Eric Adams when he was holding the Biden-Harris administration's feet to the fire concerning the migrant crisis, I think the people of New York will come to reevaluate those statements that he made, that they'll most likely acknowledge the fact that Biden and Harris left him hanging, and that they did actually retaliate against him, in my opinion. And if he does work alongside with Trump the way that I believe that he will, because they have exchanged pleasantries back and forth over the past month or so, I think that his newfound connection to Trump in a state and city in New York, which sounds crazy, but is also creeping more and more red, the same way it is in California, I think that his alignment with Trump will actually put him in position to win re-election if he so chooses to run again, which he did plan on running again, despite the fact that Biden's DOJ was attempting to bleed his finances dry. You know, he will run again. And like I said, I think that his alliance with Trump, if this alliance turns out to be what I think is going to be, will put him in position to win a re-election. So I think that Eric Adams will be coming back to life. He'll be coming back to life, and he's making the smart move, and he's reading the room. As we talked about earlier, you see the direction and the shift that the country is going to. Trump overwhelmingly won the election. The country essentially went red. And he's reading the room and saying, well, you know what I need to do. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to join it, especially given the fact that the DNC already threw Eric Adams away. They threw this guy out the window. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. So we're going to get into the super chats right now. There's a couple questions that were asked and statements that were made via super chats. I want to answer some of those questions and read off some of those statements. If you are going to exit, I only ask that you please hit the like button on your way out. If you didn't exit already, smash that like button on your way out and follow me on Telegram. I cannot beg enough. I cannot beg you all enough to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is extremely important to circumvent and get around the shadow banning of YouTube and social media as a whole. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below. It should be pinned in the live chat right now and will be pinned in the comment section below if you're watching the replay and you made it this far into the video. So let's jump into this. We have one of those usernames that I can't read again. You all know how horrible that I am with names. Is the T silent? Tahazi Bismuth. Mongul. Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for the support. You say that this is for you, my friend. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support that I get on this channel. I don't exist without you guys' support. So thank you very much. King One Supreme said, I'm in New York City. Not only is my state shifting red, but my city as well. Trump only lost New Jersey by 5 points. New Jersey may become a swing state in 4 to 8 years. I believe it. I can believe it. I can believe it. If everything kind of pans out in the Republicans' favor, right? If Trump is actually allowed to govern and be the president of the United States without getting filibustered every step of the way, there's a good chance that may happen, and it probably will happen in the next election, right? Because people will look at them more favorably and they will say, okay, our bet on the Republicans, our bet on conservatives, and our bet on Trump paid off. So then I can see a situation in 2028 when JD Vance runs that it actually becomes a swing state and flips. I heard that New York came pretty close to flipping too, as far as percentage points are concerned. It came very, very close. From what I heard. So yeah, I can see that. And if they do frustrate him every step of the way, like what we've been discussing here today, if indeed that is the case, well, then once again, everybody's watching and they're looking at what the Democrats are doing. So if they make that mistake, then once again, I can see New Jersey and maybe a couple of other states being in play that weren't normally in play. So right now, Trump and Republicans overall are in a very good place, which is essentially a win-win place, unless for some foreseen event, Trump was just dropped the ball massively, just fumbled it. But I don't see that happening. I honestly don't see that happening. Shout out to Had a Soul. Had a Soul says, salute TD. The falling of Hollywood has shown the country was going too far left. Trump is the reset they didn't want. Shout out, what did that say? Nerdtronic. Shout out Nerdtronic. Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this, over the past couple of days now, or just at least incorporate it in a live stream, or maybe do a standalone video about this over the past couple of days now. But that Hollywood's influence is over. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. And even more importantly, the magic is gone from the Obamas. Nobody cares what the Obamas have to say anymore. Nobody wheeling out Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. That just doesn't cut the mustard at all anymore. They have completely lost their magic and luster over the country. Nobody cares what they have to say. Alongside with all these other Hollywood celebrities, people do not care. And we saw that, in his landslide victory. But I think it's even more important to point out concerning the Obamas. It's gone. The magic is gone. We don't care. Nobody cares. Shout out to Benton Jr. Bay for becoming a channel member. I appreciate you, Benton Jr. Bay, for the support that you're showing the channel. Thank you very much, bro. Shout out to Quantum Mania, who said Adams has no time to tarry. Not at all. Not at all. He's trying to get those charges dropped. Okay, Eric Adams is trying to get those charges dropped. All right, and I believe Trump is going to drop those charges. They're not going to hold up. He's going to get in office. He's going to drop those charges against Adams because, like I said, they've been exchanging pleasantries over the past month. Trump doesn't just exchange pleasantries with anybody, especially if he doesn't like you. I think that they've most likely have already been in talks. In my opinion, I think they've already been in talks. Adams is going to be fine. Those charges are going to be dropped. I think he's going to work closely to the best that he can with Trump, in my opinion. Most likely Kathy Hochul will try to frustrate that relationship as she's taking her defiant stance. But as it pertains to Eric Adams, yeah, he definitely doesn't have time to play around when he's trying to get those charges dropped and get as close to Trump as he can, because like I said, he's reading the room and picking the correct side. Shout out to Stephen Carter or Stephen Carter. I appreciate you. He came through and said, we got to push back on this. What? Farcical? Oh, Lord. Here's I'm having one of those moments where I can't read now. We have to push back on this lie being promoted by the usual suspects that Harris got 78% of the black male vote. She got 70% of the black male vote. Do you think she got less than that? You think that it's not true? I don't know. I would have to see evidence that say that she got less than that, but they're saying that she got 78 and it's not true. I mean, it might not be true. I mean, they lied about everything else, right? Definitely about polling numbers concerning how well Kamala Harris was doing. They definitely lied about that. So maybe they could be tweaking the numbers a bit concerning black male support for Kamala Harris. You say you believe it's less than 78% that they're reporting. It could possibly be less than that. You never know, because when it comes to DNC, man, you know, they don't mind participating in shenanigans, as I like to say. They don't mind participating in that at all in order to get their desired outcome. And with all that being said, that does it for today's show. Thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is extremely important. I'm begging you, follow me on Telegram, okay? The link is in the description box below and pinned in the live chat, and will be pinned in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time, and until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon or good morning if you're here with me on the West Coast. I'm about to go make me another cup of coffee. Thank you all and have a good one. Peace.